everyone, welcome to the top 10 list and welcome to the last Halloween themed video of the year. Yes, I've been doing all these Halloween themed videos throughout October. They've been a lot of fun to do, and I thought I'd end it with my top 10 most underrated horror movies. And yeah, I've been enjoying these videos very much, and I hope you're all having a great Halloween season. I hope you're all enjoying the great fall weather of Halloween. I certainly am not. I live in Canada, and, well, I might as well just show you. This is what we're experiencing now in Canada. Look at it out there. It is snowing. It looks more like Christmas than Halloween. Look at it. Yeah, it's pretty bad here. Well, I love Christmas, but it's Halloween. It should be nice in fall so people can go trick-or-treating and stuff, not go cross-country skiing. That's what people are going to be doing this Halloween. They're going to be skiing to the houses, and yeah, that's pretty bad. But anyways, let's get to this list. Here's my top 10 most underrated horror movies. Yes, I did my top 10 worst and best horror movies, or favorite, least favorite, however you want to put it. And I did my top 10 favorite found footage movies and stuff. A lot of horror themed videos, but this one I definitely wanted to do because these are horror movies people just need to watch. Some of these movies are pretty known, and some people might disagree with me that they're underrated, but I genuinely think that these movies are very underrated because they didn't do very well in the box office, and they're just not horror movies a lot of people talk about. So I think personally that these movies are very underrated, and these are movies people should be watching every Halloween. Are all of them great? No, but they're enjoyable horror movies, and they're very underrated, and they're great to watch during the Halloween season. So let's get to it. Here's my top 10 most underrated horror movies. Coming in number 10 is the movie Youre Next. This is directed by Adam Wingard, one of my favorite horror directors. He did The Guest. I was going to put The Guest on here, but I don't consider The Guest a horror movie. I consider it more of a psychological thriller action movie. Youre Next is a straight-up slasher horror movie, and it's so good. It's stupid, very stupid, and it has a lot of problems, but it's a lot of fun, especially to watch during the Halloween season. It's basically one of those invading movies. These killers invade this home and kill this family and stuff, and a lot of these characters are really boring, very uninteresting, very one-dimensional. Most of the characters are in this movie to die, except for the lead character. I'll put the actress's name right there. She's awesome. She gives a good performance. She's an interesting, intriguing, enjoyable character, and she is so badass. She is awesome. Watching her kick some ass in the second and third act is really enjoyable, and it's a very interesting survival horror movie, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a fun slasher movie, and if you love slasher movies, please check this movie out. It's really good. Coming number 9 is Epicenter. Epicenter is directed by one of my favorite current horror filmmakers, Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan did this year's Hush, Before I Wake, and Ouija Origin of Evil. He's had a busy year. He's remaking I Know What You Did Last Summer next year. I'm excited for that. He also did movies like Acula and stuff, but this is his first movie, a very low-budget indie horror film. It's really, really good. It's very psychological and very dramatic, but it's also genuinely eerie and scary and atmospheric and really spooky. And I really enjoyed about a girl who's been missing her husband. Then her husband shows up and you don't know what happened to him. It's because he went through this tunnel and you don't know what he found. And I will not dare spoil what happens, but it's a very good movie with some good acting, good pacing, good atmosphere, very solid direction, and just a very underrated horror movie. Very good. Coming number 8 is The Invitation. The Invitation, there's a lot of horror movies I could have went with this year, but honestly, the ones that I keep talking about are ones everyone knows, like Conjuring 2 and Don't Breathe and Lights Out are very well-known horror movies, and they all did very well in the box office, but the lower ones like Hush and The Witch, because of Netflix, those movies are very popular, so I don't think they're quite underrated, but The Invitation's very underrated. I know some people are like, wait. You didn't put The Guest on here because you didn't call that a horror movie, but you called The Invitation a horror movie. Yes, I think The Invitation is a horror movie because The Guest has a lot of action scenes and has like some romance and some dark comedy. This movie even begins like a horror movie. Yes, the horror elements don't begin till like the last 40 minutes, but it's still very creepy, very atmospheric, and it builds to the scare. It's not scary at all until you know what's really happening. I don't want to spoil it. All I gotta say is beware of cults. This movie's great. It's so good. Logan Marshall Green is the lead. He is so good. It's awesome to see a horror movie with smart characters. He is such a smart horror movie character. He's the best character to be attracted with in a horror movie. He's just so great, and he's the most logical character, and this movie is really, really thrilling and genuinely creepy, and it has a very good, thought-provoking ending. I will not spoil it, but that ending, my God, just had shivers. I'm like, oh, God. Very good movie. Came out this year. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. It's really good. Coming number 7 is Creep. Yes, a found footage movie. I talked about it in my top 10 favorite found footage movies. I won't go into too much depth about it because, again, I don't want to spoil these movies, but it's a great movie. It's very weird. It's only 2 guys. One of them is Mark Duplass, who wrote and directed this movie and starred in it with his buddy. Yeah, I forget his name, but it's a really interesting movie, and it's about a movie of careful who you trust. Just because you're filming a guy and doing a day-in-the-life story doesn't mean you can trust the guy, because the guy may be a creepy-ass killer, and that's what he is. And it's a very creepy movie. 2 very good performances. It feels like you're watching this really strange found footage movie. It feels like you're watching real footage of a real, like, murderer and a real guy experiencing this creepy-ass dude, and it's very good. It's got a very obvious ending, but for some reason I didn't see that ending coming, so I don't know. I thought this movie would do something different, but because it was so obvious, it made it a good twist because you didn't think it was going to end like that. So, yeah, very good ending, very good acting, and just a creepy movie. Creep is very creepy. Coming number 6 is Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead is a great monster horror movie, and I love it. I love the story about this guy who loses his son in an accident, and basically he puts a curse on the people who killed his son. He basically summons the Pumpkinhead. So the Pumpkinhead is this big creature with a big pumpkin head, and he basically kills whoever he's targeted to kill, and it's a very good movie. It screams Halloween. Again, there's a lot of orange, a lot of decorations of Halloween, a lot of pumpkins, a lot of fall weather. This is just a straight-up Halloween sort of movie, and this movie came out in 1988 or something, and I'm surprised this movie didn't get like a cult following, because this movie is so much fun. It's creepy, it's edgy. You don't really give a shit about the characters that are dying, but you care about the lead character and about how he lost his son and stuff, and how he's slowly going crazy and stuff. It's a very enjoyable movie. It's a good monster movie, great horror movie, and very underrated. Coming number 5 is White Zombie. White Zombie came out in 1932, and it stars Bela Lugosi. It's the very first zombie movie. And I know a lot of older people that are watching my video, which is probably not a lot of you, but you're probably thinking, this is not an underrated movie. Very true. For older crowd, not underrated. But for a young crowd, very underrated. Because anytime I mention this movie to a young crowd, nobody has any idea of what movie I'm talking about. No one my age has seen this movie. Well, unless you're a film buff, but if you're not a film buff or a horror movie buff, you've never heard of this movie. No one in this young generation has heard it, and that is why it's very underrated. It's a great zombie movie. It's a very classic, spooky, awesome zombie movie. It's a little dated, it's a little cheesy, but it's a short movie. It's only an hour and 10 minutes, and it has Bela Lugosi, the master of monster movies. Come on, this guy was Dracula. Such a good movie. It's got a great ending, a little funny, but still a great ending. And this is the movie that started zombie movies. Yes, Night of the Living Dead was the most iconic zombie movie, but this started it. Coming number 4 is Horror of Dracula. Horror of Dracula has Christopher Lee, Michael Gough, and Peter Cushing, and this is part of the Hammer horror movies. Yes, Hammer horror was like The Mummy. This was mostly in the 1950s and early 60s, like the Mummy movies, the Wolfman, Frankenstein movies. These movies, again, were very underrated. A lot of people didn't watch them and stuff. When people think of Dracula, they either think of Bela Lugosi or Gary Oldman and Bram Stoker's Dracula. No one thinks of Christopher Lee, which they should, because he's so freaking good in all the Dracula movies, like Prince of Darkness, Brides of Dracula. This movie, Horror of Dracula, is the best Hammer horror movie and definitely a very underrated film. It's based off the Bram Stoker novel, but it's still its own story. It's very short, it's more to the point, and it's great. It feels spooky and campy, and it's just a lot of fun. It has that over-the-top violence in the 50s. It's so good. This movie is so awesome. Bram Stoker's Dracula is still a better movie, but this movie is so, so good, and more people just need to watch it. Coming number 3 is the movie Triangle. Yes, Triangle, not The Triangle. You remember that stupid movie that came out in the early 2000s or something? That stupid early 2000s, late 90s movie about the Bermuda Triangle, that stupid horror movie. This movie actually came out just a few years ago. It has Liam Hemsworth. Yes, just hear me out. And it has Melissa George, who was in 30 Days of Night, and Again, this movie is so good, so twisted, so bizarre, so refreshingly original, I cannot dare spoil a single thing about this movie. The only thing I can say is this movie is about people that go on a boat, and then a ship picks them up because their boat crashes or starts to sink, and they go on the ship, and bad stuff starts happening. That's all I can say. Yeah, they start dying, but there's a reason why this is all happening, and I don't want to dare spoil it. If you've seen this movie, completely understand why I can't spoil this movie. This movie is so freaking good, so bizarre, so well executed, so well structured. It's got really good acting. It's genuinely weird and so bizarre and strange, and you want to know where this movie's going. It's so bizarre and strange and bizarre and eerie and cerebral. It's so well done. Again, can't spoil it. I just can't. Just watch this movie right now. Go watch it. Go watch it. It's out of this video. Go watch it and then come back and see the rest of the two movies. Just check it out. It's such a good movie. Coming number 2 is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Yes, I know you're all probably just rolling your eyes right now. You're like, oh my god. Can he go one video without mentioning this movie? Yes, I can. Do I want to? No, but I can. This movie, I've talked to death about. I don't want to go on and on about this movie. I've mentioned this movie like 80 times, so yeah. It's the most underrated Halloween movie. I'm not going to put The Return of Michael Myers or The Curse of Michael Myers or the shitty Rob Zombie movies, because those aren't good movies. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a movie that gets a lot of hate, and it really shouldn't. This movie should be a movie everyone should be watching every Halloween. I'm glad there's a small fan base for this movie now, but there should be a bigger fan base. It screams Halloween. Come on. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. And my number 1 most underrated movie of all time is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yes, I know a lot of people are saying this movie isn't underrated. This movie is critically acclaimed. People really enjoy it. It's one of people's favorites Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Yes, but when this movie came out, it did not do good box office-wise. A lot of people didn't go see this movie in the box office, and even now, even though a lot of people do really like this movie, this is a movie that people just don't talk about. People talk about the franchise of Nightmare on Elm Street. They talk about the franchise. They don't talk about this movie specifically. And a lot of people, when they do like analytical reviews, they talk about the first one or Dream Warriors. And they should, because those are great movies. But Wes Craven's New Nightmare is like the horror movie gem. This is like definitely like in my top 20 favorite horror movies of all time. It's such a great movie with a really good idea. This is a story about what if Freddy Krueger was real? What if Freddy Krueger actually lived in our world? Wes Craven plays Wes Craven. You got Robert Englund as Robert Englund. And Freddy Krueger is coming to life in our world. It's like almost like a demonic aura coming into our world, killing the real characters. And Wes Craven is writing all this as this is all happening and stuff, and real people are dying in a script, and they're dying in real life and stuff, and it's a great movie. It's scary, it's spooky, it's original, it's interesting. It's a fantastic horror movie. It's a great movie about the film industry as well. And it's interesting to see all these characters that were in Nightmare on Elm Street play themselves, or a Hollywoodized version of themselves in this movie. And it's so good. It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's a great horror movie. It's definitely the most underrated horror movie of all time. Some people might disagree with me, but I think Wes Craven's New Nightmare is the most underrated horror movie. Anytime someone asks me, what's an underrated horror movie? I say Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Go watch it right now. So yeah, that's my top 10 most underrated horror movies of all time. So in the comment section below, please tell me, did you rate this top 10 list? If not, what are your top 10 most underrated horror movies? What horror movies do you think are very underrated? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.